All right, notes 3.7 are on isolating variables. Now, this is going to seem a little strange to you at first, but once you realize that it's just like solving any equation, it's not bad at all. So if you look in the box that's on the top of your paper, there's a standard equation on the left side. Please press pause and solve this equation and then come back to me when you are done. All right, go ahead and look at the work that we have here. If you need to press pause to make sure that you understand this, go ahead and do so. All right, so now we're going to look at our literal equation. Now, a literal equation is just a standard equation that might have some variables in it, more than one variable that we're trying to get by itself. So if you notice right here, it says solve 2x plus 3 equals 9 for x. Here it says solve ax plus b equals c for x. Now the x is the variable that we tried to get by itself in the standard equation, and it's the same variable we're going to try to get by itself in the literal equation. So here, see how you have a 2? It's like the A. The B is like the 3, and the C is like the 9. Okay? So, right here, do you guys see how we got rid of the 3 by subtracting 3 from both sides? Okay? Here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get rid of the B. So to get rid of the B, I'm going to subtract B from both sides. Now, the difference between this equation and this equation is that 9 and negative 3 were like terms, so we could combine them and say it's 6. Here, C and B are not like terms, so we can't combine them. So our answer, not our answer, but the result in this step would be C minus B. Now, all I have to do, just like we got rid of the 2 by dividing by 2 because it's 2 times x, I'm going to get rid of the a by dividing by a since it's a times x, which means that my answer is x equals c minus b all over a. Okay. All right, the directions for 1 through 8 say to isolate y. Again, I know this is going to be a little bit on the strange side, but bear with me. The more practice you get with it, the easier it's going to seem to you, okay? Number 1, isolate means to get y by itself. So if you look on the side of the y, there's a 4 there. I don't want a 4 there. I need to get rid of it. So to get rid of the 4, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Now, here's where people mess up, and I don't want you to mess up. People will think that 2x minus 4 is equal to negative 2x, but it's not, because they're not like terms. You're not allowed to combine them. So you literally write down what you see. 2x minus 4. Is the y by itself? Absolutely, so I'm done with that problem, okay? Let's take a look at number 2. It's very similar. On number 2, the y has a negative 4 on the same side as it, so I'm going to get rid of the negative 4. Well, how do I get rid of negative 4? I add 4 to both sides. This negative 4 and this positive 4 cancel each other out. These are not like terms. Do not combine them. You get y equals 2x plus 4. Can you do anything else with it? Are there any other like terms? There aren't, so you are done with that question. All right, let's take a look at number 3 now. Number 3 is a little bit different. I want to get the y by itself, but there's a 2 there. So I need to get rid of the 2. But what is separating the 2 from the y? It's a multiplication sign. So what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. But if you divide one number by 2, you have to divide every single number by 2. Y equals. Now, it doesn't matter that they're like terms when you're multiplying or dividing. Just like when we were doing scientific notation, it didn't matter if the exponents were the same or not. What matters, the only time it matters is when you're adding or subtracting. Same thing with variables. So 10x divided by 2 is 5x. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So your answer is y equals 5x plus 4. All right, let's look at number 4. Number 4 is a little bit harder, so please make sure you are really watching this one, okay? So in number 4, there are 2 things I want to get rid of. I want to get rid of the x, and I also want to get rid of this 2 right here. Well, just like in an equation, you want to get rid of the whole entire number, not this coefficient that's stuck with a y first. So you want to get rid of the x first. So how do I get rid of the x? Well, it's a positive x, right? So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So I'm going to subtract x. I end up getting right here that 2y is equal to, I can either say 14 minus x, right? Because that's what I have written down right here. They're not like terms, so I'm not allowed to combine them. Or I can say it in the opposite order. It doesn't matter what order I say it in, as long as the x stays negative right here, right? And the 14 stays positive. So I'm going to say negative x plus 14, all right? Now I want to get rid of this 2. So what's separating the 2 from the y? Multiplication. So get rid of it by dividing everything by 2. So I end up getting y equals. Now, this x is not divisible by 2. I don't know what x is. I can't divide it by 2 evenly. But it has an invisible coefficient of 1. So it's negative 1 over 2. If you can't divide it out, leave it as a fraction. So it's negative 1/2 x, and then the rest is easy. 14 divided by 2 is just 7. If you did not understand question number 4, I want you to go back and rewind it and make sure that you really get questions like this. Number 5, I'm going to show you guys 2 different ways to solve this problem, and I expect that you get both ways written down on your paper so that you have something to refer back to when you look back at your notes, okay? So the first way, I'm going to write down x minus y equals 7. I'm just going to copy the problem down. So I want to get rid of this x right here. In order to get rid of this x, I need to figure out what kind of an x it is. It's a positive x, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Now, a lot of people will want to try to add x, but x plus x does not cancel out. It gives you 2x. X minus x does cancel out. So you end up getting negative y. There's still a negative number left over. Equals, you can either say 7 minus x or negative x plus 7. It doesn't matter either way. Now, my goal is to get y by itself, and y is not by itself because there's a negative sign in front of it. Well, the coefficient is negative 1, so I'm going to divide everything by negative 1 to get rid of that negative coefficient. So this cancels out, and I end up getting y equals. Now, negative x divided by negative 1 is positive 1, so you get positive x, and then 7 divided by negative 1 is negative 7. Okay, that's one way to think about it. The other way to think about it is as follows, and this is the way that I prefer, and I strongly suggest you do it this way, but again, it's totally up to you, okay? So I don't want to deal with any negatives at all, and the y is negative, and since I want to get the y by itself, I want it to eventually be positive. So I'm going to force it to be positive by adding y to both sides. Now that doesn't help me get the y by itself, but it helps me to make the y positive. So I end up getting x equals 7 plus y or y plus 7. It's your choice how you want to write it out. Now all I have to do is get rid of this 7 by subtracting 7 from both sides, and you end up getting x minus 7 equals y, which is the exact same equation as y equals x minus 7. Okay? Alright, so then let's look at number 6. Again, we're going to solve this 2 different ways, okay? Please make sure you get both ways down. This is very similar. So for this one right here, I'm going to get rid of the 4x first. To get rid of it, I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. Alright? So then I end up getting negative 3y equals 24 minus 4x, or you can say negative 4x plus 24. It's again your choice. Now to get rid of this negative 3, I have to divide everything by negative 3. So you end up getting here y equals, this turns into a negative 8, and then this negative and this negative cancel each other out to become a positive. And then can I divide 4 by 3 evenly? I can't, so I'm going to leave it as a fraction like I said before. So I get 4/3 x. Leave it as an improper fraction. You will understand why in the next unit that I want you to leave it as an improper fraction, okay? I'm going to show you the other way to solve this problem, okay? So I get 4x minus 3y equals 24. I'm going to force the 3y to be positive, so I'm going to add 3y to both sides. So I end up getting 4x equals 3y plus 24, or 24 plus 3y. Now I'm going to subtract the 24 from both sides. These are not like terms, so I end up getting 4x minus 24 equals 3y. Lastly, I'm going to divide every single number by 3, so then my equation turns into 4/3 x minus 8 equals y. Now the question is, since it's the same equation, shouldn't I get the same answer? But it doesn't look like I got the same answer. Here the y is on the left side, here the y is on the right side. Guess what? Totally fine if they're on opposite sides. Here the 8 is negative, here the 8 is negative, here the 4/3 x is positive, here the 4/3 x is positive. So these are two equivalent equations. All right, let's look at number 7. I want to solve for y. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this 3 through. So I end up getting x equals 12 minus 3y. Okay, now I can add 3y to make the y positive. Okay, or I could subtract, I could subtract the 12 from both sides. I'm going to add the 3y to make the 3y positive. So I end up getting 3y plus x equals 12. Now I need to get rid of the x, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So I end up getting 3y equals, remember these are not like terms, so I get negative x plus 12, or 12 minus x. Divide every single number by 3. I end up getting y equals, now this is not negative 3x because negative x is not divisible by 3. It's negative 1/3 x. And then 12 divided by 3 gives you 4, and then you are done. All right, one last one I'm going to show you how to do. So question number 8, if I can find it. 7x minus 2y equals negative 22. So I'm going to subtract the 7x. Okay, again, you could have added the 2y, totally up to you. Negative 2y equals negative 7x minus 22. They're both negative this time, okay? Divide everything by negative 2. Watch out for all your double negatives. This cancels out. I end up getting y equals. Negative over negative becomes positive. 7 is not divisible by 2, so I'm going to leave it as 7/2. So you get 7/2 x. And then negative 22 divided by negative 2 is a positive 11. Okay? That's how you get that's how you get variables isolated in your equations. Make sure to come with questions next time I see you in class if you're stuck. See ya.